The night was quiet, except for the distant hum of cars passing below the bridge. Ethan leaned against the railing, his jacket thin against the cold breeze. His hands were rough and tired from long shifts at the construction site, but his heart was heavier than any load he carried. A struggling single dad, he often came here at night after putting his little daughter, Lily, to bed. It was his place to think, to let his frustration out where no one could hear. But tonight was different. Tonight, he wasn't alone. At first, he thought the shadow at the edge of the bridge was a trick of the dim streetlights. But then he saw her, standing on the ledge, her hair whipping in the wind, her eyes fixed on the dark water below. His heart froze. He had seen pain before, he lived with it every day, but the raw desperation in her stance was something else entirely. Without thinking, he called out, his voice trembling. "Don't jump." She turned slightly, startled, her eyes red and filled with tears. "Please, just go. You don't understand." Ethan stepped closer, his boots scraping against the pavement. "Maybe I don't, but I know what it feels like to think the world doesn't care. To think you're all alone. I've been there. I still am, most days." His voice cracked with the weight of honesty. "But if you jump, you'll never find out if tomorrow could be better." Her grip on the railing loosened, but she shook her head. "There's nothing left for me." Something inside Ethan snapped. Memories of the nights he had nearly given up himself, back when Lily was just a baby and he didn't know how to feed her, how to keep a roof over her head. "Listen," he said, his voice firm but kind. "I'm a single dad. I work myself to the bone just to keep food on the table. I've thought about ending it more times than I'd ever admit. But every time I look at my daughter, I realize, if I give up, I'm taking her hope with me. You don't know it yet, but someone out there needs you. Maybe more than you can imagine." Her tears fell freely now. She wavered, her balance unsteady, and Ethan lunged forward. With a desperate grip, he pulled her down from the ledge, wrapping his arms around her trembling body. She sobbed against his chest, the fight draining from her. For a long moment, they just stood there, two broken souls clinging to each other in the cold night. When she finally spoke, her voice was small. "Why would you care about me? You don't even know who I am." Ethan hesitated, then looked into her eyes. "Because I know what it's like to want to disappear. And I promised myself, if I ever saw someone in that place, I'd do for them what I wish someone had done for me." She lowered her gaze, shame flickering in her eyes. "My name's Emily," she whispered. From that night forward, Emily became a part of Ethan and Lily's lives in ways none of them could have predicted. At first, she visited just to thank him, then to help with Lily when Ethan's shifts ran late. Lily adored her instantly, clinging to her hand and calling her, Auntie Emily. Slowly, Emily's laughter returned, though it was soft, hesitant, like a bird learning to fly again. Ethan, too, began to change. Where once his nights were filled with loneliness and exhaustion, now he found comfort in the small family they were building together. He still struggled, bills piled up, and work was grueling, but for the first time in years, he felt like he wasn't carrying the weight alone. Emily shared her story too, losing her parents in a car crash, being betrayed by someone she trusted, and the crushing emptiness that followed. Ethan listened without judgment, offering the kind of understanding that comes from walking through his own fire. One evening, as the three of them sat around a modest dinner table, Lily looked up with wide eyes and asked, "Daddy, can Emily stay forever?" The question hung in the air, fragile and beautiful. Emily's eyes filled with tears, and Ethan felt something stir deep in his chest. For the first time, he allowed himself to hope. Months passed, and the bond between them deepened. They faced hardships together, unpaid bills, Emily's relapses into despair, Ethan's struggles with work, but each time, they leaned on one another and rose again. What had started as a desperate cry on a bridge turned into a new beginning. One night, as the sun set in a blaze of gold and pink, Ethan stood with Emily by that same bridge where it all began. He squeezed her hand gently. "I don't think you saved me that night," he said softly. "I think we saved each other." Emily looked at him, her eyes shining with the kind of hope she thought she had lost forever. "And we'll keep saving each other," she replied, her voice steady and sure. The message was clear, though unspoken. Life is fragile, but so is hope, and when shared, hope becomes unbreakable. One inspiring message for the ending. No one knows the silent battles others are fighting. Sometimes, a single act of kindness, a single moment of reaching out, can rewrite the ending of someone's story. Hold on, because tomorrow might bring the person, or the reason, You've been waiting for all along.